Hello, I'm Chef Tani, and today I'm going to show you how to shallow poach a chicken breast. First of all, I'm going to show you how to properly chop chives. Chives is not like other herbs. We don't chop it like more than one time, and because it's very fragile. When we start chopping chives, you have the thick part and the thin part of it. This is the base of the chives, which is close to the ground, and this is the tip. We want the tip one because they are nice and small. So we arrange it and we put the knife on our fingers and move a little bit at a time. This way we have nice little circles of chives and not big pieces of chives in our sauce, so or whatever you're gonna use it for. So you see I'm moving just a little bit each time. Start with the thin part and keep on moving. The rocking motions, or the locomotive motion. And this is how we chop chives. You see it's beautiful and very small in one cut. I'm not going to go and re-cut it because then it's going to change the little circles that I created and make it look like a mess. It's nice and dry this way. You don't hurt the herb, and it's beautiful this way, and this is the correct way of chopping chives. Okay, never take your knife and keep on chopping it after you cut it the first time. So you need to be patient and move just a little bit each time. This is how you create that beautiful cut of the chive. I think that should be enough for our purposes. So you take it and go ahead, remove it from the cutting board. And when you're cutting the deal, before you're cutting the deal, go ahead and clean out your cutting board. So I have a sanitation rag over here. Clean up my knife. Clean up my cutting board. And then I'm going to show you how to chop your deal. Okay, so the deal has thick stems, so we don't want it in our dish. So what we are trying to do is to take the pieces of dill and get rid of the thick stems and utilize only the thin herb. Okay, so we get this. And for one chicken breast, that should be enough. I take it and bundle it together to keep it all together, and then go ahead, the same thing, go and chop it really, really fine. With dill you can go again and cut it a little bit more if you need to, but if you do a good job at the beginning, you don't need to. So again, moving a little bit every time, having your knife in contact with your finger is really important, so you have control. When you're afraid of your knife, you don't have control, and then your knife cuts are not as accurate. Okay, so always have your knife on your fingers. It can be one finger, two finger, it doesn't matter, whatever works for you. Okay, you can go ahead and chop it just a little bit more. And then take this and put it over here. That should be enough for the chicken breast. And we have some chopped parsley over here. If you want to learn how to chop the parsley, you can watch the video of the knife skills where I do a demo how to cut it. Again, before I move to the next task, I want to go ahead and clean my cutting board, clean my knife, clean my cutting board. Always work nice and clean. Now we're gonna prepare the chicken breast for a shallow poaching. We start with a cold pan, not a hot pan like usual. We take a little bit of butter and we put it on the bottom of our pan. Okay. The reason we use the cold pan is the fact that the butter will stick to it better. And also when we poaching, we want lower temperature. We don't want to give a shock to the chicken. So we start everything from cold and slowly heating it up. That promotes even cooking. Okay, so I put my onions on the bottom. I can put some salt. I can put some pepper on the bottom. This is white pepper, so I put just a little bit with the tip of my knife. Okay. For the chicken breast, we have an airline chicken. When we are poaching, we don't want the skin because nobody wants to eat a soggy skin, right? So we're gonna take off the skin of our chicken breast. It's easy, you don't need a knife for it. You just take your hands and you just get rid of it. Okay. And if you see a little bit of fat, you can trim it off. And then we're gonna lay our chicken right on top. Oops, I see a little bit fat on the side, so I'm gonna trim it. You don't want like a piece of fat, so I'm trimming it. And I'm gonna put it with the skin side up. I mean where the skin was needs to be up. This is the smooth area of your chicken breast. You don't want to show the customer that side of your chicken. Okay, so the skin side up on top of it. We have some chicken stock over here. We're going to put some chicken stock. We're going to put our white wine. And you want it to come about halfway to the side of your chicken. This is when we are moving it to the stove. We turn it on and we put like on medium high and bring it to a simmer. And ahead of time I prepared myself a cartouche. If you want to see how to make a cartouche, you can watch the video of glazed carrots. The one with the glazed carrots, I made a hole in the center. With this one, no need. I butter this one with butter, so when you put it on top of my chicken breast, it's not gonna stick. Okay. Let me go ahead and wash my hands. So I'm gonna wait until this come to a simmer. If I see that it takes too long, I can go ahead and get the heat a little bit higher, but I don't want to do it too fast. Again, starting with cold promotes even cooking, and I don't want it to cook too fast. Once it is coming to a boil, I'm going to utilize my cartouche that has butter on one side. I'm going to cover it. The reason I do it, when I'm going to put it into the oven, I don't want direct heat on top of my skinless chicken breast. It will dry it out and create like a little crust. So I don't want it to roast. The cartouche will trap all the moisture in it and won't let the top side get dry. I can turn it up a little bit more to bring it to a simmer. You see it start to get up. You can see, if you look at it, you can see how the edges of the chicken start to change color from pink to white, and then you know that the proteins are starting to coagulate and to cook. Okay. Put just a little bit more salt in there. So when it poaches, the flavor of the salt going in there. If we do things that doesn't require too much of reducing, because we're going to utilize beurre meunier, we can add a little bit more salt into it. This way our product going to get the seasoning better. If we are going to make a reduction, you should be careful with the salt, because if you put too much salt and it's perfect now, when you're going to reduce it, it's going to be over salted. Okay, so we get it to start simmering. You see how the bubbles at the edges of the pan are started getting bubbles, like it starts simmering, and this is our cue to put it in the oven. We're going to take our cartouche, put it on top of our chicken breast, let the butter touch the chicken itself, and then we take this and put it into the oven. We're going to cook it for about 10 minutes until it's cooked all the way through, and then we're going to make the sauce. Now 10-12 minutes have passed. Our chicken is ready. We're going to take it out of the oven. We're going to remove the lid, double check that it's ready. You can feel it to the touch that it's cooked all the way through. We can get rid of the lid. In order to keep it nice and warm until we make the sauce, we're going to take it and we're going to put it in a pan, and we're going to take the plastic wrap. Thank you. And we're going to wrap it. The reason we are doing that is so it won't create a crust and won't dry out. Okay, so you want to go ahead, take the chicken and keep it in a warm place. I'm going to take another one just to make sure that it's keeping nice and warm, and I can put it in a warm place over here while I'm making the sauce. Thanks. Now I'm going to take my pan, put it back on the stove, and I'm going to reduce my liquid. Now that I cook my chicken in the wine and chicken stock, now it's called cuisson. Okay, cuisson means cooking liquid. Cuit means cook in French, so cuisson is the cooking liquid. It has the flavor of the chicken plus the flavor of the wine and the chicken stock that I put in there, and onion and butter. So after we cook something in shallow poaching, the liquid that comes out of the oven is called the cuisson, and this would be the base of our sauce. But before we start making our sauce, we want to create some reduction to extract some more flavor out of the onions, and also concentrate the chicken flavor in it, so we'll have a more flavorful sauce. So we will wait about 3 to 5 minutes until it reduces by half, and then we will finish the sauce. Now that my cuisson, or the cooking liquid, about reduced by half, I'm going to taste it to see what the level of seasoning is. It tastes really good. I'm gonna add the cream to it. And then I'm gonna wait about 3 minutes and reduce this down, okay? So I'm gonna wait 3 minutes. The cream will thicken it up a little bit, but I'm not gonna wait until the cream will thicken it completely. When I reach the right flavor, I'm going to add beurre meunier into it. The beurre meunier is a mixture of butter and flour, 1-to-1 ratio by weight. So if I utilize 2 ounces of butter, I added 2 ounces of flour to it and mix it into a paste, and this is kind of like a quick roux to thicken up sauces. So we will wait a couple of minutes, taste our sauce, adjust seasoning, and then season it, and then thicken it up with our beurre meunier. So now that we have reduced our cream about by half, I'm going to taste it to see if it has good seasoning to it and good flavor. I'm going to add a little bit more salt to it. It has nice tanginess from the white wine. And you see that it's not completely thick, like in a nappe consistency. This is why I'm going to add some beurre meunier to it. So I'm going to take a little bit of beurre meunier and I'm going to add it and I'm going to mix it up, and that's going to thicken up my sauce. So I know I have the right flavor, the right seasoning. Now I'm trying to get the right texture. Now some chefs will leave it like that. If you have nice brunoise, that would be fine, but I have it a little bit bigger than brunoise, so I don't want to leave this in. It needs a little bit more beurre meunier. Again, if you add a thickener to your dish, it's better to have it add a little bit at a time. This way you have control. You see that I'm going off and on, and when it's nice and thick, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it and I'm going to strain it. I have a spatula over here, and I'm going to take, making sure that I get all that goodness in there. The reason you want to strain it too is if you add a roux or beurre meunier to a sauce, you want to make sure that none of it got like lumpy. So by straining it through a fine chinois, I'm making sure that there are no lumps. And just in case I have anything left in my pan, I like to use a paper towel. I take my sauce and push it through. Make sure I don't have anything left on my spatula. Get all the sauce in there, and I'm gonna get my sauce back into the pan. So now I have flavorful chicken flavored sauce, nappe consistency. Sauce that is ready to be finished. I'm going to take this and put it back on the stove. I'm going to reduce the heat so I have better control over it. And I can take my chicken off. I have a plate over here that was warmed in the oven, so we plate hot food on hot plates. I'm gonna take my chicken, and before that I'm gonna add my herbs into my sauce. Chive, dill, parsley, and I'm gonna mix it into my sauce. This is the time that I need to check seasoning again to make sure that it's perfectly seasoned. This tastes really well, really good. I'm gonna take my chicken, put it in the sauce for a second. I'm gonna take the heat a little bit up. Okay. You can take my chicken and baste it with the sauce. And I can plate it now. Put it in my pan. My sauce is beautiful nappe. And you see, when I put the sauce on, it's kind of like coating the chicken and running a little bit off it, but sticking to the chicken. So this is the perfect nappe consistency that I'm looking for. Okay. We can take a piece of paper, clean up the plate, and this is the way that you going to shallow poach your chicken. You see how the sauce is just sticking to the chicken, coating it this way.